Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another proRevenge Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe, and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. In our first story, write me up for simple mistakes to get me fired, prepare to be fired. Let's jump right in. Until a few years ago, private security was my field. When I say security, I don't mean mall cops, but high-end, armed, trained security. I spent a few years working a job in another city away from home, but the company went under, so I decided to move back home. I found a security job online. It was simple entry-level stuff, basically sitting behind a computer. You were security for the building, but monitored security for other sites the company owned across 3 states, like small repair places, factories, places where they stored vehicles, etc. I submitted my resume. The next day, a guy calls and sets up an interview. Awesome, because I needed to find a work fast. I went to the interview, which was conducted by a woman I'll call Jane. She was the supervisor, and the guy I had talked to was her boss. Jane immediately told me I was way overqualified, which I found strange, but okay. The interview went fine, and I left. A few hours later, she called and said I was hired and set up training days. I won't go through that. I just wanted to give some background, so let's get to the good parts. Jane always gave me the cold shoulder. Her boss found out that I have all the qualifications, licensing, and training to be armed, so he had me come in armed. Nothing fancy, handgun, 3 magazines, and handcuffs. Jane would always comment that everyone should be armed, though a few of my coworkers I wouldn't trust with a water gun, and she should decide who comes in armed. Just little comments to get under my skin. Then one day it happened. I was working the front desk reception that day, and Jane sends me a message telling me she needs to see me. When I arrive, she drags me to a side office to fill out a write-up form. Apparently, when I added door access to a visitor's badge, I added the door to the gym in the basement. It was a mistake, but it wasn't life-threatening. A week later, I didn't sign my timesheet and got another write-up. Then another for not filling in a form correctly, all minor things that many people had done but not been written up for. The end came about 9 months into the job. When I looked at our new timesheet, I was paired with a new officer who had only been there a month, yet he was listed as shift supervisor. Confused, I took it to her second in command. I'll call him Bob, a great guy. Bob told me that he had brought up that I had the experience and seniority to be promoted. She told him to flip off. It was her choice. That made me mad, so I started planning my revenge. I don't normally do this, but I knew that with one more write-up, I would be fired, no matter how minor the infraction was. During the night shift, there are only 2 people working. We can't see each other's computers, which got me thinking. I remembered that 4 months prior, Jane's car broke down in the parking lot across the street. Instead of having it towed, Jane's father decided to fix it there. No big deal. Only during that time, Jane brought her husband back into the security office. This was a huge deal. To get into the office, you had to scan through 3 doors and enter a code into a keypad. In the whole building, only the security staff and 1 cleaning guy had access. The security office was the headquarters for the entire company, and not even the executives have access. From the security office, we could open any door, turn off any camera or alarm, and open any gate in any building that the company owned. So it was a big deal because we had the keys to the company. This was a huge flipping violation, so I hatched my plan. Saying I needed to have a smoke, I went out to the reception and copied the visitor log from that day. I then went back in and accessed the video feeds. All our video feeds are saved for a full year. I took screenshots of her husband entering through the doors and entering the office. The office itself had no camera. Also the timestamps, him leaving. They clearly showed that he did not swipe in. In our office, even if you follow someone through a door as they hold it open for you, you still must scan your card. I logged onto my private email and sent it to another email. I knew that our computers would not log that information. When I got home, I sent all the pics, the log copies, and everything to her boss and her boss's boss, whose job it is to investigate breaches and theft. I also included every dirty trick she pulled playing favorites, etc. The fallout didn't take long. 2 days later, on a Friday, I went in for my afternoon shift and Bob was sitting at Jane's workstation. I pretended to be confused. Bob said Jane was suspended for a week. Monday, I had to come in to speak with her boss and her boss's boss, but I would be paid for it. Everyone was being interviewed. It was great. Rumors were flying and I was laughing on the inside. Interview day came and they started questioning me. They knew I had been working when she brought her husband in, and so they asked me about it. After acting a bit scared and getting assurances that our interview would be confidential and I would not be punished, I spilled everything. I didn't tell them that I sent the information, and they asked everyone about it. I left out some things that I had put in the email and added some things that I had left out. I didn't want to be labeled as a snitch. The interview took about an hour, and I left. The next day, there was an email waiting. Jane was fired. Bob was in charge until a replacement was chosen. I had a long talk with Bob that day. It turns out that Jane was scared of me because I was more qualified for her job than she was, and she knew I was her boss's golden boy. She was afraid that I might take her job and admitted to Bob that she wanted me gone, a fact he mentioned in his interview. She hadn't wanted to hire me, but her boss had made her do it anyway. Jane's boss was looking for an excuse to fire her, but he needed a serious reason to do it. Jane worked in that department for 10 years. It was her first real job, and security was all she knew. Our company blacklisted Jane. That meant that unless a company was really desperate, she wouldn't get a security job anywhere in the state. Icing on the cake. I know you want to know. Yes, I was offered her job, but no, I didn't take it. I told them that Bob deserved it more, which he did, and that I would be happy being a shift supervisor. So, that's the role I stayed in for the next 2 years until I left the company. In story 2, a redneck thinks it's funny to yank out mailboxes. Dad makes him pay. Here's my disclaimer, this happened a long time ago, but still, it makes me giggle to this day. So way back in the day, mid-90s or so, my family lived in a log cabin on 10 acres of land in a rural area 10 minutes or so out of town. It wasn't totally the sticks, but you could definitely hear banjo music in the background sometimes. At the end of our nearly quarter-mile-long driveway was one of those roads that was also technically a state highway. In the AM, I trudged down to wait for the bus. When I got home, I'd grab the mail and carry it back. Until one Monday morning, when I went out and noticed the mailbox was gone. On closer inspection, it looked like it had just been ripped out of the ground. Dad was obviously not pleased. He went to talk with the county sheriff, who happened to live a mile down the road. It turns out that it had been happening up and down the road for months. Someone was tossing a chain over mailboxes and yanking them out with their vehicle. He suspected a guy down the road with his great big lifted four-wheel drive truck, but couldn't prove anything. Usually, it happened on Saturday and Sunday nights, with people finding out in the morning. Also, it seemed the nicer mailbox, the bigger a target, and many had been hit multiple times. People had tried digging deeper, using more durable wood, etc. The guy just took it as a challenge and ripped them out again. Soft, sandy ground, and his truck was a monster. Well, Dad said, "Challenge flipping accepted." A bit about my father. He's a steelworker with an engineering background and a graduate degree, built like a bear with forearms the size of my flipping legs. Most people looking at him would never think this monster of a man is also brilliant, but he is. The calm, cool type that almost never loses his temper. But wrong him and God help you. So Dad goes to Lowe's and buys the fanciest, prettiest mailbox they sell. He then proceeds to install it on top of an 8-foot-long cylinder of 3-inch diameter hardened tool steel. But he wasn't done there. After digging down with post holers and dropping it in, he then filled it in with quick-set concrete. To really sell it, he then used some strips of 1/4-inch wood to cover the steel core of his now indestructible mailbox of doom, primed and painted them so it looked like a standard 4-inch post, and even had my mom decorate it with flowers and such. He wanted it to be as tempting of a target as possible. Didn't even take a week. I went out for school in the morning and found the mailbox right where it should be. Attached to it was 30 feet of chain and an entire hitch assembly, ripped right off the truck's frame, sheared the bolts. It was marvelous to behold. The sheriff gets called over and dies laughing when he sees it. He went to the house of the guy that was suspected and sure enough, verified the damage to his truck matched. Fun fact, flipping with a mailbox is a federal crime, as in you can go to federal prison, not those cushy state places. Dad was unofficially rewarded by the sheriff's department with a few cases of beer and some venison, and after that, every deputy in town would flash him a thumbs up whenever they saw him. This is John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.